if you can't tell, we have a project for today. Excited, already have the car tore apart, obviously. Intakes are off. We're gonna open these brand new front mount full titanium intakes from IRL. Let's see what these look like. So excited. Lots of unpacking. Holy crap, guys. This looks incredible. Look at that coloring. Wow. This is gonna look incredible on the car. Whoa. Well, this turned out amazing, as you can see. The quality is just incredible of this IRL system. I absolutely love it. It was a good amount of work. Have to take the front bumper off. Have to, of course, get the strut braces out of the way. Get the factory intake system off the top of the engine there, disconnected from the turbos. So quite a bit of things to get done. It took about 2 hours, I think, to get remove the fender liners enough to get the bumper off, and get the old system out and everything be prepped so that I could actually begin installation of the new setup. But overall, this went really well, even though it ended up being quite a bit of work. Well guys, after fighting for 45 minutes to an hour just to get the few screws out that are connect to the bumper here, I finally, that side was easy. This side, even after I moved the wheel, was a pain in the ass. Can't say that I'm a fan of it. But now I'm going to use some trim clips. We're going to go along the top and the bottom. These are T30s. We'll find out together. Perfect. T30. I was actually really concerned about removing the bumper for the build here because I thought getting the bumper back on and getting the alignment with all the panel gaps was going to be, a big pain. It actually ended up not being too big of a deal. It's not something I'd want to do every month. I'm certainly happy that I'll do it maybe at most every spring to take this back off and get the filters off and clean them really good. But not terrible. I think the actual installation of the new intakes was more difficult than any of this. And that's not what I expected when I started the project. Well, this has taken some effort to get to this point, but there's 2 sensors on the driver's side that have to be disconnected. There's 3 on the passenger. All the bolts across the top. I think I missed 2 trim clips, I think, down here that must have to come out. But be popped off. Okay. Well, not too bad. Definitely would advise doing that with 2 people if you can. But not as bad as you would have thought. Still not my favorite thing I could say that I've ever done. And by this point in the build, you can see the bumper's off, and that was a good amount of effort to get to this point. I'm taking the strut tower braces off. I've had all these bolts off before. You can see I've got a Downstar dress bolt kit on here, so I couldn't tell you what the factory bolts are. A lot of these were T25s, I think, and some 13 or 15 millimeter. But I'm going to take, I think, some of the cooling shroud off in a little bit. Just getting all those cleared out of the way so that I can get to the point where I can take the factory turbo intake off. So all that black plastic that you see there, it's got your air filters in it and everything. Now, don't worry about taking all the way out. Good enough, good enough. I've never changed these actually. 45,000 miles. Actually look pretty good. Surprisingly so. I don't know if the previous owner had changed them in the first 20,000 or not. It's definitely dirtier, but not bad. Enough than I thought I was going to do. Mr. Chip Clip. Clips off the bottom. This sensor out of the way. got one turbo inlet off using the clip. Like other people made this look so easy. There we go. The twist was needed. Over in here, guys, I took out these two pull pin with the trim tool to give me a little bit of flexibility, and I took out a bar that was right here that was for, I don't know, T10s or something. No, what is this? For T25s. I don't know how T10s. So I took those out to give me a little bit of room, and then I used shears to cut the plastic out in the corner here so that we have a place to put our new intakes through instead of fighting the Dremel tool. There's a wire back here that you have to be careful not to cut. So now, all this on this side. And do the same here. Wire on this side as well. Super thin cuts if you can't tell. Easy peasy. Nice. So, all right guys, now we get the joy of trying to figure out how to put this together, because there are evidently no instructions, so that's kind of cool. I'm assuming lots of things, none of which will probably be correct. So that's a great way to start this project off. I would have really at least a diagram of what we're doing here. So I'm assuming these are what hold the filters, but I could be wrong. This might fit on an intake. Okay, definitely know that. Perhaps. I'm not really sure if this connects to metal or. Okay. Fun. No, this big one goes in the middle. Easy peasy. So I need something. We'll swerve back this way, which I assume is this guy. Same time. So that I need a picture. I'm a visual learner. I need a picture. There was a missed opportunity here in the packaging. Guys, this is the next day. Obviously the car is put back together. Yeah, I totally got distracted fighting with the install and gave up attempting to film. So yeah, first time rookie there. No, this ended up being, oh my God. So I had the bumper off and the old intake removed and everything on a Tuesday. Then the following day on Wednesday, the parts arrived, which they were a day late, great. Yeah, so starting at 2:45, I worked pretty much non-stop, maybe a 5-minute break from 2:45 until 9:15, which was the install, as well as, you know, adding the bumper back and getting the braces and everything back together. The bumper, getting it back on, that was kind of what I was most afraid of for this whole process, and was not that bad. Like, yeah, I had my dad come over for some help, but I'm not super afraid. It's a little tedious, but not that bad. So I'm definitely okay with doing that again. Not that I want to do it anytime soon, but within my ability. Getting the intakes on. So this driver's side, I feel like I really struggled. There was no instructions that came with this kit, so it was a little bit of a struggle to figure out exactly, especially the bend on this one. On the passenger side, it was a little bit of a struggle which way that it went, but it helped that they, you know, obviously should have been matching as far as where the intakes or the filters are up front by the grill. But yeah, this ended up fitting kind of like the first time, it felt like. I mean, it was a little bit to get this elbow together. I ended up using some dish soap later on that really helped, and like pushing down. We ended up basically building from the front back, and then pushed that into the coupling. So the coupling was already on. And then this side, I had put the coupling. I fought for a long time I had the coupling on the turbo, and I kept trying to push the metal into the silicone coupling that was on the turbo. And that over and over and over and over again did not work. But when I put the silicone coupling on the metal tubing, and then it was so easy to just push it onto the turbo, it was insane. It was like within 2 seconds. Ridiculous that made such a big difference, because they just did not look like they were gonna line up. And then on this one, I really thought the video I had watched, this one looked like it was gonna be a pain in the ass. And like soaping everything up and then shoving it in, like starting at the front and pushing everything back, not that big of a deal. I was like, oh my gosh, we did this side, it felt like in 5 minutes or something. But getting this side adjusted on the passenger side, so on the driver's side, the intake is, or the filter is like lined up perfectly. On the passenger side, it's a little bit tilted up, and it was insane. I ended up taking the cooler shroud off here, and there was like some front bracing here. There's a couple little brackets that hold this where the bumper attaches to piece. Not the biggest things to remove, but I took it all off. It allowed me to move the radiator a little bit. I took the bolt out of the headlight and pulled the headlight up out of the pin to swing it a little bit. That gave me more room. The clearance was just so tight. And I was able, with the front bracket here that holds the bumper brace, with that removed, I was able to get the fitment perfect. So that was really, really great. But yeah, after that, no, it ended up being, I would go to put the bracket back in and it would immediately move the intake up. And I just could not get it any way that worked. So I ended up cutting, I don't know if you can see all the shrapnel all over the ground. I ended up cutting with some like tin snips, because that's the best tool that I had. I cut some of the plastic off that brace, and that helped some. But I spent forever just on that, and not so much trying to make them symmetrical. Like, I wanted the filters to be symmetrical, but it quickly became like, oh, that's not the big goal here. The goal is simply being able just to get the car back together. And so with the filter tilted too far up, it would push all the bracing for the bumper and stuff. So yeah, that ended up being lots of fun. That took, like I said, forever. I'm still not 100% happy. Putting one of those bumper braces back on, I managed to break it. So I now have, I don't know if you can see it with this, there should be a little piece of plastic that comes through and bolts in somewhere right in here. And I don't have it, but the top piece that would come up broke off. It's this thing right here on the ground. And so anyway, there's zip ties now to hold the bumper, the thing that the bumper attaches to hold it back, because it was a little too far forward and it was going to mess up with the fitment. And then when I had all the shrouding off, I think the tubes kind of messed with the alignment. There was one hole here that I just cannot get lined up, so there's no dress bolt in there. I don't think that's hurting structural integrity in any way. And then the biggest thing, I cut out the sides here, so there's like plastic shrouding that was on the sides and went all the way across and down, right? And so I had cut the sides out, because obviously the intakes, but I expected to keep the top there. And if you can see the piece laying on the ground here, I could not get that back in. Like the filters. The filters I have almost a little over 2 fingers of clearance between like the bumper foam bar and the bottom of the filter here, and I have exactly 2 here on the driver's side. I don't know how to get them to go down any further, and yeah, so there's no plastic. Hopefully that's not a big deal. I don't know why it would be a big deal. I had my dad come over at one point. We worked on it together yesterday. Yeah, our theories were either I'm going to have cooling issues perhaps in the summer or something if it's not directing airflow, like pushing it down onto the radiator right there, or I'm going to have some like buffeting with the hood at certain speeds or something. So we'll see. We'll see if that's a problem and if I have to tear it back apart to really put that in. But otherwise, I mean, I would definitely be faster at it this next time. But yeah, like I said, I never want to take this apart and do it again. That was so painful just to get the tubing through here. Like, if it had been at all possible, what I would have preferred would have been to have smaller tubing. I know that performance, sure, yeah, all the things, but I would have rather just had smaller tubing up front so that I could fit it easier. There's just not enough clearance. I mean, it's just touching everywhere, and being able to get the filter over the titanium tube on the passenger side and get it lined up, there was not enough clearance between the radiator and the tube to get the filter on. And it just took so much effort just to barely tweak and twist and everything, just where I could get the filter on and get it secured. So yeah, not what I would call an enjoyable project, but the finish, as long as I can get the check engine light off, I mean, the result of this is absolutely stunning. first YouTube video. I filmed all this to create a channel for the car and make some car content just for fun. I have an Instagram. You can follow me over there. I'm definitely on Instagram more. YouTube's not so much my thing. Find me at mmm4.g82. Yeah, I'll do some videos here soon, show all the mods that are already on the car. I've got a bunch of stuff in the mail. I'll be doing some more videos over the coming weeks, month, whatever. I've got plenty of more things to install. Hopefully none of it as much of a pain as this was. Let me know what you think, what intake you're running, or what you would have done differently to install this. Any tips, I would greatly appreciate it in the comments, because I'm not a mechanic, if you can't tell. I'm working out of a small carport here, and I don't have a lot of tools, not to mention the knowledge. So this was very much an exercise in figuring out as we went. But yeah, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks.